Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be looking at my top 10 rides of 2022. I know I'm very late to this topic, but I had Thunderland on the 30th, so come on. But Thunderland was worth the delay, because you'll be seeing at least 4 rides from Thunderland on this list. So let's get started. But let's look quickly at some runners-up that did not quite make top 10.
What is this ride? What is this ride? What is this? Whoa! You can beat the record on this. Oh my god! Oh!
Now at number 10 we have Elliot Cubbins' Stealth Bomber. I have always loved Stealth Bomber ever since doing it for the first time in 2021 in Derry. And my 2022 ride on Stealth Bomber at Fundamania Belfast was just as good. Even better, I got an off-balanced ride on the ride, meaning I was a lot more out of control than usual, especially going through the station upside down. That was so intense. And the view at the top was incredible, as I could see all of Belfast. However, the reason why this ride's not higher on the list is because after a few flips, this ride can get extremely repetitive. However, I did do another booster, which I think is a lot more superior. I'll explain why later. At number 9 we have Dane Crow's Exciter, the first of many rides from Thunderland on this list. Exciter is the world's first and only Tivoli Warp 10. It's one of the most stunning rides I've ever seen on the travelling fair circuit, with all its lights. And since the ride was inside the RDS hall, you would get really close to the ceiling. The ride experience is also pretty unique, but it feels a lot more like an Enterprise. However, the finale is the exception, which was so forceful that it made my legs go numb and caused me to tear up. That was fun. At number 8, we have a very similar ride to Exciter, Lee McFadden's Tip Top. The ride is a very rare Tivoli Force 10, which would later inspire Exciter many years later. After years of trying to track Tip Top down, I managed to ride it at Fundamania Belfast. Tip Top might not have the loops of Exciter or the floorless seats of Exciter, but I think this is better. Unlike Exciter, where the swing of the cars feel controlled, Tip Top's cars swing like mad, especially during the finale. The ride also has forces that are sustained throughout the entire ride, not just during the finale. And the ride just feels extremely weird and boisterous, which I like. This is why I put McFadden's Tip Top over Exciter. At number 7, we have Evan Castley's Freestyle. After not doing freestyle in many years, since Derry in 2019, I finally managed to get back on it at Fundamania Belfast 2022. Freestyle is currently the UK's only technical park Street Fighter, as well as being the UK's only fully inverted Street Fighter as well. Freestyle for years has been one of the most intense rides on the Northern Irish Travelling Fair circuit. Going over the top has some impressive hang time, and when you go through the station, you get some amazing G-force. Then combine that when you're spinning at full speed, and just wow. Freestyle has always been one of my favourites at Fundamania, and I can't wait to ride it again this year. Next up at number 6, we have William Byrd's Takeoff. Huss takeoffs have become quite sought after in recent years, so I was really happy to ride one at Thunderland RDS. Takeoff is one of the most stunning rides in Ireland and it has one of the best backflashes I've ever seen. When the gondola is on takeoff spin in the same direction as the main plate, it resolves in some of the most intense G-forces I've ever experienced. Honestly, the G-force on this is actually insane. The forces were sustained for at least 2 minutes and it was absolutely draining. It is something that I could easily see a lot of people having a game over on, and I almost did, but I just kept persevering. Overall, Takeoff is an incredible ride, and it's still great to see it going strong after 18 years of ownership with Birds. Getting into the top 5 now, we have Gareth Thomas's Energy Roundup. Despite the fact that it's owned by a Scottish showman, it primarily travels in Northern Ireland with Cullen's Amusements. It took me ages to finally ride Energy at Lammas Fair Ballycastle, and it was 110% worth the wait. I had previously done Alan Slater's Asteroid Roundup at Cullen's Derry 2020, but still, Energy is way better. Energy is a lot more forceful, and you could hardly breathe before the ride lifted off. It probably is one of the most intense rides I've ever ridden, and I really can't get enough of it. Oh yeah, Gareth's mic action and jingles are absolutely amazing. They really do create an atmosphere and really hype up the rides. You can always tell when energy is present at a fair. It's a ride I hope to see lots of this year. At number 4, we have Frank Zulima's breakdance. His second Husk breakdance, just to clarify. I had previously ridden Peter Cedric's Sabima breakdance on the Blackpool South Pier in 2021. However, the Husk version and the original version is much better. I managed to catch Frank Zulima's breakdance at Funderland RDS. Once you get cranked up to max speed, it's honestly amazing. The cars will whip you around violently and it's so intense. And when the strobes are on, it's extremely disorientating. Even better, the operator usually gives a long program that's extremely intense, allowing you to absorb the goodness of breakdance. The lighting package on breakdance is superb and it's really well presented. Something else that was funny, once the ride had ended, my car took about 30 seconds to stop spinning. It was that fast. I can't wait to do it next year, or maybe Frank Zulima's other breakdance. Top 3 time now. At number 3, we have the Falcon Coaster from Dunreal in the Netherlands. The highlight of my 2022 holiday was getting to stay on site at the Dunreal theme park. I was there for 7 days. Any visitors who stayed on site at the theme park were allowed free access to the entire park. That meant I got to ride Falcon 14 times during my holiday. Despite the fact that I was disappointed that the Husk Topspin next door was closed, Falcon 100% made up for it. Falcon is a Gerstlauer Eurofighter, which features the same layout as Rage at Adventure Island in England. Some memorable features of Falcon include the intimidating vertical lift hill, the beyond 90-degree drop, and the multiple inversions throughout the ride. The bottom of that first drop has some really good forces, and the barrel roll has some good hang time. The final few turns also provide a good bit of force. It is no wonder why Falcon's been placed so high on the list. At the number 2 spot, we have Owen Curry's KMG Afterburner, The Beast. This KMG Afterburner was formerly owned by English showman Ryan Crowe until earlier last year when it was sold to Owen Curry, who put it in Curry's Fun Park Portrush, and it brought life to an area that desperately needed it. It's also a very good crowd drawer when it's open. This ride is a hit or miss. Sometimes it's open, sometimes it's not. As someone who lives 10 minutes down the road from Curry's, it took me multiple attempts to finally ride the Beast. Should have just done it on opening day. But the ride was well worth the wait. The max swings are absolutely terrifying, and the spin has some really good force to it, even when sometimes the cycle is just mediocre. About halfway through the season, the ride got a new cycle, which allowed it to swing at max height for much longer. However, the highlight of the Beast has got to be when I got a manual cycle on it. In September 2022, I got a manual cycle on the ride, which had lots of variety on it. The output even made the ride spin at full speed, at max height, and it was insane. Most of the time it doesn't do that, so I got lucky. It really is an amazing ride, and I'm so thankful to now have it in Northern Ireland. And finally, we have got here. The best ride of 2022 is Jonathan Perk's Altitude. I have been on the hunt for this ride since 2019, after I saw it in Derry but didn't ride it, due to me having a game over from freestyle. I finally managed to ride Altitude at Funderland RDS in Dublin. It blew me away. Unlike the Fabry Booster Stealth Bomber, Altitude is a KMG speed. It's more of an updated version of a booster. Altitude feels a lot faster and the cars swing much more. It also solves the repetitiveness problem that Stealth Bomber has. On Altitude, sometimes you flip, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you go over the top slowly, sometimes you just get absolutely tossed over. It makes the ride an absolutely terrifying experience. You really do feel like the ride is out of control. However, I just absolutely love it. Altitude is also one of the most stunning rides I've ever seen, with some really nice art and a great lighting package. Another funny thing is I had an entire audience watching me as well whilst I was doing it. All this makes me proud to say, Altitude is the best ride of 2022. Now, what were some of your favourite rides of 2022? Let me know down below. Again, thank you for watching and goodbye.
Oh! Ah! Oh my god! Ah! Ah! Woo! Ah! Woo! Oh my! Oh! Jesus Christ! So tense! Oh!